Hey there, YouTube. So this is the second time I'm doing this video, because the first time I actually walked around, I had Rummy with me, and well, she was stopping like every 3 feet to smell everything, because, you know, smells, and she got out of her harness at one point, and I had to drop my phone. I literally dropped my phone and ran after her, because she got loose. But I found it, I got her, everything's fine, and I decided to, because the original video was like 4 or 5 different parts, so I started fresh, and this is it. And it really doesn't matter to you because you're seeing this all for the first time. Anyway, so I wanted to do a walking thoughts video. Earlier today I asked, was it today or yesterday? I don't know. I asked my members if they could give me questions and comments and topics to talk about, because I had run out of ones I listed. I have one of those memo kind of apps on my phone, and I ran out of topics that I had written down. And I like to do these non-scripted, you know. I did not really think about it, although in this case, because this is the second video I'm doing for this, I already had some ideas, so I'm going to try to articulate them better and without the distraction of a dog. One of the topic that I want to talk about is not necessarily one that somebody gave me. It's a description of themselves that they used in their comment, and I forget who it was, but they call themselves a skeptical believer, and I found it interesting. I found it interesting because I've used that term before to describe myself back in my ghost hunter days, and it was more when I started becoming a little bit more skeptical, or in my case, I wanted to present myself as being more skeptical, and that way it looked like I was taking things more serious than other people that were just plain old ghost hunters, that I was taking a skeptical look too, because I was playing both sides of the playing field. I'm not saying that's what the intention of the person that commented about it, but I wanted to address it because it's an interesting concept, because it's a contradiction. To be honest, that's how I see it. The more I thought about it, the more I thought, like, this is a contradiction, because to be skeptical means that you have doubt. You have doubt about a claim. It doesn't have to be an extraordinary claim, and most importantly, it is not exclusive to paranormal claims. Unfortunately, I think there's this conditioned response when somebody calls themselves a skeptic, that it automatically means or pertains specifically to paranormal claims, and that's simply not the case. So yeah, being a skeptic means that you just have doubt about a claim, and you want to know more information before you make a decision whether to accept the claim as true, or possibly true, or maybe true, or not true at all. So that's the skeptical side. The believer side is more of you take things on faith. So you don't require evidence to accept something as a belief. You accept it based on faith, something you want to believe. Maybe it's something you were born into, and that's always been the way it's been. You know, the family style tribal knowledge kind of thing going on. You were raised that way, or something like that, or that you were just hopeful that it's true. So you choose to believe in it. So things like ghosts, that's usually not something we really, well, at least that I know of, that we grow up with, like a belief that's instilled in us, instilled, is that the word? That's taught to us by our parents, although, you know, I guess in recent decades that's probably changed. So yeah, you can see that was a bug. There's a contradiction there. Calling yourself a skeptical believer is contradictory, because you're saying that I have doubts about claims and I want more evidence to understand what's going on, but I also believe things without evidence. So it contradicts itself, and I personally don't find it to be a good term. But then I'm torn, you know, because then I'm thinking like, all right, so what's the alternative? You know, and I'm sure many of you are going, well, what do we call ourselves then? You know, if we do have some skepticism and we still believe in certain things, what do we call ourselves? I don't fucking know. I just think those two terms put together are contradictory, and I don't know if it's a good term, because again, like, we have to go back to the idea of skepticism. Everyone is skeptical about something. Everyone. It doesn't matter if you are a full-on believer in religion or paranormal, the earth is flat. It doesn't matter if you are a diehard believer in anything, because there's going to be other stuff that you are skeptical about. So we're all skeptical about stuff. You know, like if you see a commercial and it says this laundry detergent is a better cleaner than this other laundry detergent, you know, brand A is much better than brand B. You might believe it because you use brand A. Maybe you never used brand B and you don't know, but you still believe it because that's what you've always used. However, if you're on the other side of that and you use brand B, you're going to be like, hey, you know, I use that. It's a pretty good cleaner. I'm skeptical. Maybe you'll reject it out of hand. Maybe you'll buy brand A and test them both. I love these walking thoughts because I just go off on these tangents. I don't even know where I go sometimes. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you're going to be a skeptical believer, understand that you are saying that you are a questioner and a believer, which is good. I mean, that's what you should be. I mean, people have their personal beliefs. I'm not going to knock that. I really don't know what I'm trying to say, to be honest. I really don't know. What I know is that when I read the term, it made me think. It stuck in my head. And it was something that I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. It's kind of a weird thing, you know? It's almost like two extremes, but it's not really. I don't know. Let me ponder this for a minute. I'm pondering. This is what my pondering face looks like. I guess, I mean, people are going to use it. I guess maybe my point here is not to stop people from using that term or encourage them not to use that term, but to understand there's more to that term than just that I question some things, because I guess, you know what, like, sparks my memory now. When it comes to, like, you see TV shows and you have the token skeptic that's on. The one that comes to mind is from, I think it was Finding Bigfoot, which ironically never found Bigfoot. But they had a doctor on. I forget what she had her degree in, her PhD in, but she was billed as the skeptic, and basically the token skeptic for the show. But the few episodes that I watched, it was like 5 minutes in, she went from questioning or bringing up good skeptical questions, or bringing up some science or refuting some science that was bad in the show, to agreeing that something weird is going on and this might be a Bigfoot or something like that. And to her credit, to be fair here, it was probably editing. I'm pretty sure she had no editing control over it, so I'm not blaming her. I'm blaming the show. I'm blaming the show for the style of editing, and that it was definitely a very biased kind of show, even though they never found Bigfoot. You know, but it was, I guess it's that kind of skeptic. Maybe it's a character, more or less, that pops into my head when I hear skeptical believer, because I see so many like ghost hunting shows and especially YouTube channels where you have someone that's on there and they claim right from the start, they give you foreshadowing that they are the biggest skeptic. They are a huge skeptic. They're the biggest skeptic you ever met. And every time I hear that, I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not. They are going to cave easily within a few minutes, and they always do. So I guess maybe that's my bias. Maybe that's because I've been conditioned, because so many people who have billed themselves as skeptical believers on such TV shows have not been skeptical. They don't show their work. They abandon skepticism and science within minutes and just, you know, dive right into, you know, they jump on the crazy train. That was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. They jump on the bandwagon. That's what I should have said. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I shouldn't have said crazy train. But because I was trying to make a joke, and as soon as I said it, I was like, ah, that's wrong. I wish I could. I mean, I can edit that out, but I'm not gonna, because these are raw videos. What else? There was something else I wanted. There was another point I wanted to bring up. That let's see, TV skeptics, they have that attitude. Oh, show your work. Like, I guess that's another attribute of the stereotype of skeptical believers that I have, is that so many that call themselves that, and again, this is nothing against, and it's not directed to the member that commented. I want to make that clear, and I'm sorry, I forget the name. But most of the people that say that do not show their work. You know, like, they say they're skeptical believers, and then when you send them out there on a ghost hunt, I still won't call most of them investigations, but if you send them out there with a group of people, there's very little skepticism that is employed. And it's I honestly think that many of the people that I see on those TV shows that claim to be skeptical believers don't actually understand what being skeptical is, or what skepticism is. That's what I think is happening. I think many of them don't understand what skepticism is, and to them, it is a buzzword that gives them some kind of clout. It gives them some kind of credibility, and makes you, the viewer, take them more seriously, because they're describing themselves as someone that is skeptical or a huge skeptic, and they love science, yet they don't demonstrate any kind of knowledge or familiarity, I think I said that right, with science, scientific method, or applying skepticism to claims. I'm getting winded. This is good though. I gotta lose this dad bod. Alright, so I don't know if I made my point, and I don't know what my point was. That's the point of these walking thoughts, is that I'm just talking and trying to work out things for myself to understand it. Like, I really didn't know what I was doing when I started this video, both times, and I really don't know where I am at the end of it. I guess I'm looking for your feedback. What do you guys think? Because I think, I can't say I know. I think that I also don't believe. I think that many of the people that would say to me and comment, including the person that commented this time around, are meaning it that they do have certain beliefs, but they also question. They question other beliefs. And I think that was part of their description, unless I'm confusing like two comments, that they've had experiences before that they can't explain, and they've also had experiences where they could explain it later on. And that's another thing. That's actually another topic that I'll get into later at another video. But I guess for now I'm going to say, don't suspend your skepticism if you yourself can't explain something. Because maybe you in general, I'm saying you in general, simply don't have the knowledge or experience that is necessary to understand what's going on. And that's why, for me, like, I reach out to different people. I reach out to experts in different fields of study, things that I'm not expert in, and ask. And get their opinions, and at least get pointed in a direction to start researching and understanding it for myself. Because I am well aware that there are plenty of times where I don't understand something, you know, and I'm looking at dumbfounded. Like the other night for the Skeptical Help Bar. I mean, somebody asked about if Bigfoot was like a vegan, and I didn't know. I assumed that if the creature Bigfoot was real and existed, that it was a meat eater. Because, you know, why wouldn't you want bacon? I love bacon. I love cheeseburgers. I love cheesesteaks because I'm from Philly. Yo. But I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I was out of my element. I didn't know what I was talking about. I shouldn't have been talking about it. I should have just said, I think I did say, like, I don't know in the beginning, but then I proceeded to make not educated guesses, because they weren't obviously educated. Just guesses. And then it was a nice community moment because we all came together and people started looking it up and said, hey, you know, like, no, like gorillas are mostly vegan. Most of their diet are plants and vegetables, or plants, mostly plants. I don't think it's vegetables. Again, I don't know. This is not my wheelhouse. But it was interesting because we did look it up and it was fun. So that, I guess I'm using that as an example of, I didn't suspend my skepticism because I didn't know. And instead, we looked to the research that's out there and learned that I was wrong, which is great. And that I learned something new. And I think that's what we all need to do. If we don't understand something, don't suspend your skepticism. Keep it up. Reach out to others and go forth and learn. That was my inspirational quote. Go forth and learn. Alright, so I'm going to end this video because I'm getting all sweaty. I can feel sweat coming down. Disgusting. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I wasn't just talking out my ass the entire time and made no sense. Feel free to jump in the comments and discuss. Give me your thoughts, and I will. I don't always respond, truthfully. That's because I'm just jumping around, especially this week. We got the big bosses coming in, like the big bosses. All my bosses, everyone that's above me is coming in this week, flying in from different parts of the country for certain special meetings. So I'm going to be busy, but I'm going to try and start responding a little bit more to these kind of comments, these videos, and the comments that you guys put up, because I like that interaction. I really do. Which is why I've been doing, I give up my Friday nights. It's because I love hanging out with you guys and doing that show. it's so much fun. All right, I'm heading back. I think I'm gonna make myself a burger. Because now I'm thinking about like meat. I don't have any bacon, but I have burgers. So I'm gonna make myself a cheeseburger. Nom, 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 nom. All right, guys. Never stop learning. See you later.